We're living in a different time. Isn't that what the old folks say? Well, I beg to differ, because there really is nothing new under the sun. We used to think that this generation was stronger than that of my parents. But after learning where and whom we come from, I realized that this was a false narrative. They fought, bled, and died for the liberties that we take advantage of today. So I changed my mind. We are our grandparents. We are our parents. This is where the idea for uppity Negro apparel and accessories comes from. We are the uppity Negroes that defy boundaries, broke chains, climbed mountains, and crossed valleys of hatred, bigotry, illiteracy, and oppression. The statement is simple. The cause is never ending. The sound, loud. Say it with me, Kindred. I am that uppity Negro.
Okay, I hope y'all can hear me. Okay, I think I found myself. So, as always, when I leave and don't come on for a while and I come back, I'm very nervous and hot and jittery. And so I got all these books and I got so much stuff I want to talk about. But so let me calm my little spirit and we're going to get into what I want to talk about. I want to talk about good evening, Lala. How you doing? Thank you, thank you. I want to talk about mental illness and its effect on the friendships that we have with people, because I think that when people think that you're strong or that you're okay, I think people forget that you're going to have breakdowns. You're going to have issues with what you got going on. So I'm trying to get used to this little setup I got here. I am now in my new I am excited and I'm happy, and I'm getting furniture, and it's just nuts how things are working out. And so I'm trying to figure out where my camera is. I have no idea. So everybody bear with me because this first show is going to be a doozy. Because I've decided that I am going to try to be more consistent. So I'm a little off, y'all. I'm trying. There we go. Okay, I'm a little bored, but it's dark in here because I don't have my halo light, but I'm going to work on it. So anyway, I really want to get into talking about friendships and mental illness, and the fact that just because you know how to pray, just because you go to church, just because you have a relationship with God, it does not negate the fact that you're human and that you're going to make mistakes, and that you're it's a miracle and he heals you from it. But I think that a lot of times that people have, one of the thorns that people have is mental illness, is that they have something that is chemically imbalanced in their brain. But it's not always a chemical imbalance, because sometimes it's trauma. Sometimes it is deep-seated trauma, and we don't know how to deal with it. And sometimes the worst thing that you can do is sweep it under the rug and say, "Girl, I'm okay. That didn't bother me. I'm all right." And when you do that, and then you have this episode and you explode, then the people who you've been dealing with all that time, who thought you were all right and you were going to be great and you were strong, they listen. I'm very bad at talking in code, so let me just get to it. So a couple of weeks ago, I went on live, very, very depressed, very, very suicidal. And I said, I gave what I was feeling at that time. That is how I was feeling at that time. But people that I know took it as a personal attack on them. And the message that I was trying to get across backfired, because that they didn't hear the message. They heard the anger and the hurt in my voice, and they took it as a personal attack on them. And all that they had been doing to help me, they thought that I was being ungrateful. And that's not how I meant for it to happen. And so when I thought about how I was going to bring this up, I decided that I was not going to start with an apology, because if I apologize for what I said, then everything that I was feeling at that time will be stripped away from me. You understand what I'm saying? That means that everything I was feeling wasn't right. Everything that I was feeling was didn't matter. But at that time, that's how I felt. I did not mean that nobody was helping me. I did not mean that I was really alone. I felt that way at that time. And I understand now, with hindsight, why people took it the way that they did, because a lot of people didn't know the real. I hadn't been doing shows. I hadn't been doing lives. So a lot of things people didn't know. A lot of people didn't know. A lot of people didn't know that I didn't really have anywhere to go. And a lot of people thought I was living in hotels or whatever. I didn't. I ran out of money. And so a lot of nights I was in my car, or I was on the floor of a hair shop. When it was real, real cold, I slept on the floor in the place where I get my hair fixed. I slept in my car, and a lot of days I didn't eat. And I was working, and all of a sudden I wasn't working anymore. I haven't worked since the end of October. My boss just stopped calling me, and he didn't pay me my last check until today. I had this apartment, but I had to wait because I didn't have the down payment for it. And I thought she was going to give it away. And at the very last second, at the very last second, someone paid my deposit. And so a lot of people didn't know what I was going through. And the people that I usually go to were going through their own thing. My brother was buried today. And the fact that I wasn't participatory in that process, I'm devastated. But there's nothing I can do about that. I honor and loved him, and I know who I was to him, and that's all I can do. I um I don't I don't regret what happened. Maybe the way that I chose to express myself was maybe not the right way, but it was what I had at the time because I didn't feel like I had anybody to really listen. And so we're going to move on past that. And I really want to talk about mental illness because it's not an excuse. Mental illness is not an excuse. Mental illness is real. And I was diagnosed years and years and years and years ago with bipolar disorder, very high on the spectrum. The only thing I have very depression and suicidal tendencies, but I also have manic. So I'm manic depressive, and being manic is one of my manics is not managing my money well and not managing friendships and relationships very well. I do not do those well during my manic episodes. I won't say who it is. I won't do that. The person I know, his manic was he would get rid of everything in his house, paint everything, and then just redo it. And it became this thing, and people got so used to it that they didn't realize that that's a manic. And the other thing that people don't realize with mental illness is that with mental illness, a lot of times it comes along with PTSD, especially when your mental illness is attached to a trauma. And so we look at people and we see them and they're okay and all this other stuff is great, and we forget that the trauma that people have gone through and the things that they go through and some of the things that they say are not just jokes, it's real. So let me put my glasses on so I can see. And because I see some stuff popping up, I really want to get to my notes, but I may not be able to get to them. Hey Simone, mental illness is not an excuse, it's a part of, yes, that exactly. It's a part of, it's the mental, that is definitely the worst. You can, yeah. Mental illness is not a joke, and it's a journey that people take. It's not. Thank you, Simone. Thank you. I'm trying to go back through the notes, y'all. If y'all could, let me see. I can get. So I think somebody wants to come on, and that's fine. LSD, did you want to come on? You can shake your head, yes or no, honey, because I can see you. Do you want to come on? Yeah. Okay. I'm so glad you want to come on because I would love some company right now. So let me try that. I'm trying to add you. Why won't it? Oh, there it is. Why can't I see you? Why isn't it doing that thing that it does? Where oh, the lady. Hold on a minute, because I'm on a tablet, not my computer. Okay. Here you go. Hey.
Hey.
And just stop me when I start rambling and going on. There's some things I want to get to, but this strong Black woman thing and this Black men are strong and they don't cry thing that we have ingrained into our children and into our lives from the House of Massa, we got to stop. We have to stop because what it does is it makes people that have mental issues, it makes people that crack under pressure, like I did a few weeks ago. It makes you feel like you're not valid, like you're not real. It makes you feel invisible. And I cannot think of another word that the word invisible to me is one of the worst words in the world. Because to be a solid mass of somebody and to feel like people don't or people don't think about you, I'm not gonna cry. And people don't think about you when you're not in their presence, it's real to me.
Yeah.
And
it is real.
It's an excuse It is real to me. I feel like if I'm not in the presence of certain people, or most people, I feel like that I'm not real. Like that I'm not really of substance. That I'm in this little world of my own, and nobody don't see me until I call them, or they bump into me. And that's why I'm so easily to talk to strangers, because it
Okay.
makes me feel like somebody saw me. Go
Mhm.
ahead, LG. You can say whatever. Go ahead, say what you got to
Well,
say.
it's extremely interesting that you chose this topic because my show was about emotional and social intelligence.
Mhm.
Emotional intelligence being our ability to sit in, acknowledge, and be aware of our own feelings, and the social intelligence being, well, now that we know how we feel, how do we integrate that into society? And when
Mhm.
you say you feel invisible, that is a real feeling. And going back to what you said about your life, I will never say a person is wrong about their
Mhm.
feelings. I think that's
Mhm.
probably the worst thing uh, you can say, because feelings and emotions are intuitive. They come in your mind because they belong to you. They're based
Mhm.
upon experiences, circumstances, physiological things that are going on in Bobby that nobody else may be privy to. So for someone to say your feelings are wrong or how you expressed it per se is wrong, I don't buy into that. However, you just shared something about yourself that I, as someone that considers myself your sister, your friend, your niece, did not know. So, a
Well,
part of emotional intelligence is what we're doing right now. It's having conversations. So, yeah, what she said made me feel a type of way, and my own trauma stepped up
mhm.
and got
Right,
offended.
right.
However, when you just talked about your diagnosis, having manic depression, then it was like, well, dang, that's the reason why she came at it like that, because she was having an episode. And I talked about this today. We cut off friendships too
Mhm.
much for misunderstanding each other's emotions. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm talking straight up good, purposeful, mutually beneficial friendships and relationships have been severed because of a lack of understanding of one
Yeah.
another.
Excuse me. Can I break in for a minute? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I want to say this before I forget it. And that is what I'm talking about. Because what I do is I've had a breakthrough with you. Remember when I told you why I can't be friends with certain women for a very long time?
Yes.
I'm not ready to talk about that yet, but I told you because that was a
Mhm.
breakthrough for me. And the thing about that is too, is that I will sabotage my friendships and relationships with people so that they won't hurt me. If I sabotage
Wow.
it, then I do it first. And that means you didn't do it to me. I fixed it so that so that you wouldn't eventually have to deal with me.
Right.
And so when I had that manic episode that day, in my mind, I was releasing everybody from being obligated to me. And no, and but what
Mm.
happened once I said I'm gonna take everybody's number off my phone and I'm not gonna do whatever, and I feel alone and anybody help, that's what everybody heard. But what they didn't
Okay.
hear is when I kept saying I'm not suicidal. That was me trying to
Okay.
convince myself. Because what people didn't know was all my pills were right
Mm.
there. And I felt like if I say whatever I want,
Wow.
be here tomorrow, so I don't have to I don't have to deal with the consequences of what's coming out my mouth. And the only
Wow.
reason I didn't go is because I thought to myself, who gonna tell Anton? And then I thought to myself, who gonna tell my godson? What they gonna tell Chance? And that's the only and the
Wow.
thing is, I do it because of me. I did not do
Okay.
it because of the two people that I know love me so much that
Okay.
they wouldn't understand, because they think that their love keeps me here, and it does, because
Mm.
I, but not enough not to do it. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie and
Wow.
say it. I love myself, yeah, but not enough not to take me out. But I love them more, and I know something is wrong with that. You don't have to tell me that that's wrong. I'm just, and this is the thing about me. When I talk, I say things that most people won't say. I say things that people think and won't say it. And I think when I do, and because I talk that way, it takes people aback because they don't because they think some things you know your right hand should know what your left hand doing. But if my right hand don't know what my left hand doing, when I have something good in my life, how do I do this?
Right.
How do I congratulate the other one don't even know what the other one doing?
Right. You're right.
I think that I take people, you know, I surprise people because I don't really hold on to most of the thoughts that come in my head. Because like I said, once I wrote this book and I started talking about the people and all of that, I will never again have secrets in my life, ever. Because that's why I am most the way that I am. That's what brings about my PTSD. My post-traumatic syndrome is the fact that I held those things in for 18, 20 years. Yeah. And I wish I had spoken sooner. I wish I had done something sooner or whatever. And now I don't have no secrets. And the problem with not having any secrets and being very honest is that sometimes, and I'm not talking about anybody specifically, but when you don't have secrets and other people do, it makes them feel like you think you're better than them because they hold and won't let go. So and they think, well, she thinks she's better than you because she can say it ain't, but it ain't that. It keeps me sane. It keeps me from laying in that bed day on, and just thinking about stuff that's ping-ponging through my mind.
Right.
And so a lot of things that I do are therapy to me.
Yeah.
And that I had that episode. That wasn't therapy. That was a goodbye letter. That was because I was out of here. I was done. Like I said, people knew some of the stuff that was going on, but they didn't know that everything was impacting me.
Okay.
And it wasn't because I didn't want to say anything. It was because I was tired of saying it.
Okay.
I was tired of listening to myself talk about what I was going through.
Wow.
And I was tired of it, then everybody else had to be tired of it. And so that's another thing that me and you talk about all the time too. Projection. The projection makes me feel onto other people. And it ain't got, and they're not even supposed to thinking that. Right. But it's so real to you that you're thinking to yourself, that's gotta be real. That's gotta be my woman's intuition. That's gotta be my that's gotta be the anointing. No, it ain't, honey. That's the enemy.
Come on.
Because if they're tired of you, they gonna say, I'm tired of you. They're not gonna,
I would hope they would say it.
They will though. They will though, because God, and then God don't work like that. God is not gonna tell you things that He knows gonna make you get into a state of mind where God don't test us like that. People talk about testing. God don't play games like that with your mind when He already know that you stepped over toward the edge. You can start thinking your mind like that. That cannot be God. And I started thinking everybody was avoiding me. I knew this wasn't true, but I could not shake it because I spent so much time alone with my own counsel. Remember what I said a few months ago? The worst thing you could do is be in your own counsel when you're going through. Yeah. And then I wasn't walking around people. And then I had I wasn't where I had to see people all the time. And my head was honey, the devil was having a good time. And I'm not gonna lie. And I was praying, and I was doing the prayer of Jabez, and I was doing all of that. I was doing that. I was doing the new armor and all. It didn't matter because what I wasn't doing was letting it. I wasn't manifesting that thing in my life. I was learning it. I wasn't showing myself approved. You feel me? Like I wasn't deep down studying it, and I wasn't letting it get in my heart where I could remember it and recite it to myself.
Okay.
Because the only thing
it wasn't penetrating down into your spirit.
Right. And so that's one of the things I want to talk about. I think it's on this thing, but it might not be. But that's one of the things I was talking about is failure. Failure is, and this is something that Jamal Bryant said, failure is not you. It is not a person. It is not a tangible thing. Failure is an event in your life. So I've had some events in my life where I failed, but I am not a failure.
Good. That's good. Say it again. Say it again until you feel it from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. You are not.
And that's the thing. I am a failure. I have failed at some things, but the is not me as a person. And and it's very hard for me, because I know me so well, to tell myself good things. Isn't that crazy? It took me, my hair today, I finally decided to do the red and do the whatever. Thank you. But the thing is, I keep looking at myself and I have to keep telling myself that I'm cute, that it looks good, that it's okay, that is, you feel me? Like, it's hard for me to encourage myself, but I can see a strange woman on the street and God will say, that's her. That's why you came in here. Go do what you do. And I can have her laughing and smiling and saying I made her day. And then I can walk away from her and go to my car. And I can just burst into tears because I want somebody to do that for me.
Wow.
But it happens so rarely. And I think that it happens rarely, not because people don't want to do it, but because I don't open myself up to people enough for them to see that that's what I need. Because I walk around with my head up, I walk around with my clothes right, I walk around with, and so
yeah. And that's the perception that we tend to give. We like to look good. We want to appear put together. We want to appear like we got it together. But I said that, I'm telling you, everything you're saying right now, I said it. Oh my God. We're sitting next to people at work, on the bus, at the job, that are literally one word possibly away from snapping, leaving here, losing it, because we've mastered the masquerade. But the first step is what you're doing tonight, and this is just my opinion, I ain't nobody. A part of being emotionally intelligent is saying and sitting in how you feel. And I believe the more you let your story come out and let your true feelings come out of your mouth to be heard audibly by your own voice, it's going to start to heal you.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are here to say, I thought about this but didn't, praise be unto God that something kept you here. And even though I want to fuss, I want to fuss real bad, but at the end of the day, my emotional intelligence says, not now. Just be grateful you are looking at her alive. Because I would not have been able to handle looking down in. I just put these eyelashes on. I ain't gonna cry. These brand new eyelashes. We ain't doing that tonight. But what I'm saying is, I ain't fussing or nothing. I'm sitting in your truth with you. With if I could cross my legs, I would, and sit on the floor like we used to do in school. I would sit right there in that truth with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I want to read a little. I want to read from chapter 3 out of my book. So don't let me forget to talk about the 2 giveaways that I'm doing for this month.
Remind me to remind you.
This is exactly why our friendship on In the Cliff, because you don't know how to act. So chapter 3 of my book. This is where's the cat? My book called Mom.
Buy that book, y'all.
By the way, those two beautiful people back there are my mom and dad up on my
Oh,
mantle in the apartment. Hey, okay, so
thank you, Jesus.
backing up, honey. So here we go. There is a famous saying: failure is not an option. This
Mm,
might be so, but it never stopped me from thinking of myself as one.
mm.
Loving yourself is not always easy. I did not love myself for the first half of my life because I
Jesus.
did not realize how important it was. I did not know that loving me first was not selfish, but self-preservation. And in that self-preservation, I could then be free to love others. I
That's
had
good.
grown up thinking that I would always love people more than they loved me. And it was okay. It was okay because that was all I deserved. Understand, if you are struggling with your emotions and feelings about yourself before you are in a relationship, trust me, it is only going to get worse. Being broken and trying to navigate a relationship, no matter what kind of relationship it is hard, and it is going to be unsuccessful and painful. The struggles you face and take into a relationship can ruin it before it even gets started. These struggles multiplied by 2 or 3 or 4 can make you feel like you are not good enough. They can make you have low self-esteem, low confidence, and worst of all, they can make you unavailable to your needs.
Woo. That's real.
We
That's the real deal.
relationships, but to have a healthy relationship, and we must be all right with ourselves. And one of
Ooh,
the first you must realize is this: the struggle of the one you love has nothing to do with you. So don't take it personally. They were anxious, angry, depressed, frustrated, and broken before you came into the picture. So
woo.
again, don't take it personally.
Jesus. I think you
That's
from a whole bunch of
and that is what I learned about relationships and being broken and trying to be in a relationship and you're broken and the other person is broken and you trying to fix them, and once they get themselves together, people say, well, he left me. No, 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 no. You helped them get together, but you didn't change anything about you. Because every time they tried to reciprocate and help you change, you listen, we figure out ways to get the subject off of us and put it back on somebody else.
that's so true.
Because we have learned how to manipulate the conversation away from our trauma. We have learned how to manipulate the conversation away from what's going on with us.
Yep.
Because we fixing them, and then you wonder why your friends and your husband or your people or your boyfriend, they leave you because now you got them. They got it now. They're looking at you like, well, she didn't change nothing. She's still the same way. Exactly, it's the blame game, and they didn't change anything about you. Didn't change nothing about yourself, but you done made them into the woman or man that they were supposed to be. You didn't make them, but you helped them. You pushed them to where they're supposed to be. And you know what you did? You pushed them so into where they want to be that you are on the back of the bus and they at the front about to get off. Because
Wow.
when people see you in line for a miracle, when you are in a line denotes moving.
Mhm.
You're not always going to be at the back. You're not always going to be in the middle. You're going to have to get to the front of it to get to a destination at some point. People don't stand in line for nothing. People
Right.
stand in line for free cheese, a corn dog. They stand in line for something. So if you're standing
Right.
in line, as a you're going to get to where you got to get to. And so we have to understand that in order for us to be okay in a relationship, any relationship you're talking about, in order for us to be okay, you have to be okay within yourself. The
Yes.
relationship
So important.
is the most important relationship that you're going to have.
Yes.
And when I say, I mean yourself, your human self. I'm not talking about your spirit because God got that. Let me tell me if I'm lying. Show me what a lie at. Let me tell you how I know God got it. Because he will supply all your needs according to his riches and glory.
Come on, that's the book.
And so if he does that, he got that part.
Yes.
When you worry about your soul, he got that. What you better worry about is your human condition and the fact that you're supposed to living a life that is so splendid and so inundated with God that people are supposed to see your light. Even if you try to hide it under a bushel, it's peek out.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Exactly, Simone. We pushing forward, but instead of pushing and going with them, we pushing them at arm's length, and they're going, and we're taking steps back.
Yeah. That's right.
So I wanted mental health and this idea again, strong Black that we got, and how people make us feel like we are inhumanly strong, and we are superheroes in our strength is a detriment. It's not a good thing.
What role did we play in that though? What role? What did we show them that made them think we were invincible? What did we do?
We played the part. We perpetuated that thing and made people, and so we and that's the thing. We play a very integral role in our own demise.
Yes.
In the lie of the cape and the super and the S on the chest. And I have determined in my life that I will no longer be a superhero for myself. I don't care nothing about what y'all doing. I will be my own superhero, because being my superhero had me have an episode publicly on Facebook Live, because I laughed and smiled and all of that, and I was terrified. I was terrified because watching my brother go through something that I fear. I was terrified because I was afraid that my cancer was going to come back.
Wow.
Because it happened, and then it happened to him, and they're not here no more.
Right.
And I have a very aggressive cancer. It could come back. I'll be doing chemo the rest of my life.
Okay.
And it is a fear of mine. And the fear is not of death. The fear is of not getting the work done.
Wow.
Need to get done. Who is that person to me? And then God can say, well done. Because obviously I haven't met them. But if I don't put myself out there to do that, I'm going to waste the time that He's given me. And if I do, how can I live with the fact that I disappoint my mom and my brother again by not living up to the potential that they taught me that I had? You understand? So
I do.
The question then becomes, how do we deal with pain and still be Christ-like? How do we deal with pain and still live in a way that reflects that we know that God is real, and that He sits on the throne, and that He has not forgotten about us, and yet He is pain. And David did it.
Yes.
David raped that. People say he didn't just have sex with her. Rape is about power. He raped that girl, and he killed her husband. And then God would not allow him to have a son with her, because he was wrong from the get-go. And he mourned, and he was in pain. But at the same time, you know what God said? He is a man after my own heart. So how do we live in this world knowing that we have caused pain, and we have hurt people, and we have and all of that, and still understand that we are the daughters and the sons of God's own heart? Because it's a contradiction. Because what we do is we put human attributes on God.
That's true.
God don't work, and I don't like you today, and I love you enough. God don't do tit for tat. If you did that to him or do it to you, that's not what reaping what you sow means. That's not the same thing as that. It's a whole
Good
different
night,
thing.
Simone. Thank you. That was
Good
Simone.
night. Oh, okay, yeah, it's getting late. But that's just, we're not gonna be on here long. We give it we'll give it about 10 more minutes. But that's what we're talking about. We have to, the relationship that we have with ourselves has to be the most important relationship. Because if we don't have a relationship with ourselves that is productive and it manifests the things that we're learning about in church and through other people, then the relationships that we have with other people are not going to be fruitful, and they're not going to be the kind of relationships that that grow into something that is substantial and good for the kingdom.
I agree. But that requires some self-awareness. If you're going to have a relationship with anybody, including yourself, you got to sit with yourself, in your skin, in your mind, in your flaws, in your triumphs, in your pain, in your trauma, in your ups and your downs, and come to a conclusion of, I love all of who I am.
Yeah.
I love all of this person, because when you are fragmented and you love yourself in a fragmented way, that is what creates that imbalance, and we just kind of off. So we go and think sideways.
Yeah, but then we put it on other people. So we only love fragments. We only love fragments of that person. I don't like when you do that. But we have to be able to take all, and that's one of the reasons why I can deal with Anton and love him like that, because I see him in all and the faults and all of the things that he's been through, and the PTSD and the trauma. I see all of that, and I group that in with the good things about him. But it's hard.
But how do you see Bobby first? I get that you see him, but how we flip that percentage and make it that you see Bobby before you see Anton.
That's how I know you heard me, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to love me as hard as I love other people.
Yeah.
It's hard for me because I've always given my love away. What did I just read? I had made up in my mind that I'm going to love people more than they love me. And it's okay, because that's pretty much all I deserve anyway.
Wow.
And so that's the thing I got to break. I got to break that thing in me.
Wow.
And I'm working. But in the midst of working on that, I'm still dealing with trauma. I'm still dealing with my own shortcomings. I'm still dealing with the relationship with my mom and how it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. I'm still dealing with me as a person. I'm still dealing with my body image because of the surgeries. I'm still dealing with I really have a guilt complex because my mom and my brother are not here, and I can't understand why I'm still here. I feel guilty about that because I feel like their lives were so much more important than mine. And I know that's the wrong thing. And listen.
It's not wrong. It's how you feel. And sit in that for a minute. It's how you feel.
It's how I feel. And I struggle with that, and I fight with that and all of that. But I feel like, why would you do that? They were doing such great work. They were doing such important things. And here I am, can't even keep a place to live, and can't even, and I'm feeling like I'm more of a burden on the people who say they love me. So why you take them and not me?
Wow.
And people don't question God. Well, why won't you question the person that made you? Who is supposed to ask?
Right.
I'm supposed to ask. And I'm not saying God made a mistake. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I just wish to understand. I just want to understand. And on the other hand, we don't supposed to understand everything.
We may never understand how he decides who stays and who goes, and whose expiration date is up, and who got 10 more years and who got 10 more minutes. However, what I want to know from you is, what steps can you take? When I say you, I mean anybody including myself, who wants to love themselves more. What steps can we take, even the most smallest mentally fundamental steps, in getting to know ourselves? Because when you ask somebody, who are you? People tend to name a whole bunch of stuff, but no, who are you? How do you get to know Bobby? How do you go back and say, I really want to understand myself and love me? Body image, everything, what I think I should have been, where I should be, all of that. How do you begin to love you? Number one, spending time with yourself, right?
This is it right here. This is it right here. This is
Okay.
from the definition of a good friend. And I love this definition. It's by a lady named Donna Jones.
Okay.
A good friend is defined is that a good friend propels you to be the best version of yourself. So that's the first thing. You have to prepare yourself. You have to push yourself. You have to manipulate yourself to be the best person, the best version of yourself. And nobody knows who that is better than you.
That's right.
The other thing is to be a good friend to yourself is that God had you have to be the best version of yourself, and the one that God had in mind when he created you. You have to talk to God and ask him what was his thoughts in making you.
Wow.
Who do you want me to be? And once you figure out that, and once you know what God wants, then you know what the best version of you is. And that's how you become a good friend to you. So being a good friend, be the friend to yourself that you wish you had.
That'll preach a whole tent revival for 10 days and 20 nights.
Believe in yourself like you believe in others.
Ooh-wee.
Handle your personal pain in a healthy way. And healthy way is handling your pain in a healthy way. It's going to sound crazy, but it's eating right, even when you're in pain.
Yes.
Doing the things that you enjoy, even when you're in pain.
Yes.
Smiling, and not smiling because you want people to see that you okay, but smiling because you know that at the end of this, you're going to be a better person.
Glory to God. Absolutely.
Where you stand in other people's lives. Stay in if you stay in your life with yourself and understand who you are in other people's lives, then when things don't work out with that friendship, you're all right with that because you knew you wasn't that friend.
Okay.
Because when you fool yourself and tell yourself, I'm that friend, and then it don't work out, now you devastated. But when people know who you are in their lives, believe that.
Wow.
And go ahead and enjoy that friendship until they decide that they don't want to be until they decide to break it off. Because you're not gonna have people say, I just cut people off. You don't have to cut people off. When fruit gets ripe on a tree, you ain't gotta pick nothing because it's gonna fall off by itself. When apples get ripe, you can pick them because you catch them right in the middle of it, but you don't really gotta pick them because you know what? Eventually they're just gonna fall off. So I'm cutting them off. They gonna fall off. You know why? Because it's harvest season. And harvest season is not when all the people come to take the harvest. Harvest season is when God say harvest season is.
Wow.
And people forget apples are winter fruit. They're not a summer or spring. They're winter fruit. So the harvest is in the fall and the winter. And when it's time for it to fall, it'll fall. And you ain't got to cut nobody off. You ain't got to pick nobody. Even rose bushes. Roses are beautiful. But when it's time for them to fall off, the leaves will fall off. You ain't got to pick it. You ain't got to do nothing with it. When a season is over, it's over.
That's true.
And then you ain't got to cut nobody off. And it ran its course. cross, and you don't need no closure. Because that's the problem with women. We always got to have a closure. We always got to have, man, we always got to have that last talk. And they still ain't going to say what you want them to say. You still going to be stuck because they're not going to answer the question the way you want them to answer it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never get the answer you want from people who don't want to be in your life no more, and you still want them to be there.
That's true.
Because the answer will never satisfy you. And so I'm going to get ready to go. But I'm revamping my show, and I hope that I can do this every show. I'm going to be reading a lot from my book because I think that God gave me things in that book that, and I wouldn't have to bump someone around so much for notes because I don't need to go to nobody else's notes and talk about their experience. I've had enough experience in my life that I can tell you what is what. And I keep looking behind me and seeing my mom and dad at their wedding, feeding each other cake. And I'm so happy where I am right now, but I'm sad because I'm not gonna do it to myself. Okay, so I'm gonna read a prayer, and then I'm gonna say everybody, because in my mind it's 15,352.6 people on here, 2 cats, a goat, and 7 sheep from Arabia.
You know what? What in the world? What in the Noah's Ark?
Yes. That's gonna be on. That's how many people on my show. That's how many listeners I got today.
Yes.
So I feel the jealousy coming through the screen from other people, and that's okay. You'll get a couple of goats and a couple of sheep too. And I believe it's the wave pattern. Girl, look at that. That's the ocean. They said that Jesus parted the Red Sea. I got one right over here. You see that part? That's
looking beautiful, honey. Looking beautiful.
So I'm going to read this prayer, and I'm going to come back next Saturday, and we're going to do this again. And I'm really going to try to keep this up. This is therapy for me. This show, when I started 4 years ago, saved my life. And it's just like marriage. The same way that it got you, the same way you got there is how you going to keep it. The same way God is how you going to stay in your life and how you going to stay humble at his feet.
Yes.
Okay. So here we go. The Lord is near. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Girl, and all I did was open the book. This is where it's at.
Wow.
Psalms 34 and 18 for people who like to go back and read it. If you would like, you can bow your heads but this is a prayer. And it says, Lord, I am brokenhearted. You find me crushed in spirit and bind my wounds.
Jesus.
You start in on the work of filling in the gaps. Good God. And when I feel as if I just can't go on, I do. Not as a result of a catchy keep fighting slogan or a 5,000 or a 5K cause, not because of some strength I mustered up on my own, but because of Jesus. A baby born in a stable on a dark night in Bethlehem so many years ago.
My God.
A sinless Savior, a carpenter king, whose nail-scarred hands reached out to me again and again and again. The pieces of my heart are stronger as you put them back together, adding wisdom and peace. You are near. I rest in that nearness. I thank you for knitting me together in my mother's womb and for putting my heart together a million times over in my life. You find me crushed, but set me on the path again whole. Amen.
Amen. Do you want your song played?
No. Oh God, no, I can't do it now.
Okay.
And that's why I was supposed to play it at the beginning, and I can't. I can't do it.
Okay.
I did it today at the funeral, and I can't do it. I can't do it. But I love you, and I love everybody that's tuned in now, and that's going to tune in and watch it replay. I love all of everybody, even all my farm animals that are watching. I just want to say that I am not just a survivor, I am a conqueror. Because being a survivor and a conqueror is not the same thing.
All right.
You can survive many things, but
Mhm.
that doesn't mean you conquered that thing. And so I am a conqueror and a survivor, and I'm speaking that into my own life. And so as I speak it into mine, I speak it into everybody else.
Amen.
And I am a woman that has made many mistakes, and I promise you there will be many more. And because I am human, and I won't take, as the old people say, I won't take nothing for this journey.
All right.
So we want to drink some more tea and eat these ginger snaps that I got sitting over here. And
I like ginger snaps. Send me some.
well, I got the ones in the brown bag, so they got their peppery and they hit you right, girl. I got it with some tea.
That's the real deal.
Yes, and I'm going to enjoy that. I went and got me some furniture I found at Goodwill today. Very nice sofa and love seat. I pick it up tomorrow.
Yes.
Almost all of my stuff is unpacked, and I couldn't stop. So I've been up to 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, just cleaning and doing stuff because I can't live in mess. I can't live with boxes everywhere. I just never was like that. Anton was like, take your time, but to me, that is taking my time. What's taking my time is putting stuff on the wall, being able to decorate and stuff like that. But
Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that feel good? Can you sit in that and say, look at what God has done? You did it.
God did it. And I waited, and I'm not going to say patiently because I wasn't. If I was patient, I wouldn't have had an episode. But I waited, and I did the best that I could. And that's all you can do. If we learn how to understand that, if you just do the best you can, just do the best you can. You can't do no more than you can do. And I did the best that I could. And I waited on God. And God did what he said. And it was the very next day that God did what he said he was going to do. And I thought to myself, my brother went up there and got with my mom, and they went and had a meeting with Jesus, and they asked him, could he please just give me what I needed? And he just did. Everything that I needed has just come, just came. And it felt like I've been waiting and it's been 2 years, and it's been a long time. But God did, and he's faithful.
He is so faithful.
Yeah.
New beginning, fresh start, right?
Yeah, then that's what it is. And it's just and even with Anton, the things that are happening with that, they just dropping off. Two more drop off, and he coming home. And it is just amazing that God loves us no matter how much we don't love ourselves sometimes.
Amen.
Because he knows that we're gonna be about kingdom work. Yes. And so I'm done. But like I said, I'm revamping. 2 giveaways. So
you should remind me to remind you.
I just reminded you. But we did 2 giveaways. The first one will be done on the 15th, and the next one will be done on the 20th. You have to have watched this first show right here, and you have to watch 3 shows, and you have to send me an inbox on my Facebook page, either Bobby Takes Over, Uppity Negro. You can send me an inbox on there, or you can go to Trailblazers and send me something and tell me about the 3 shows that you watched and the name of those, and I will send you a gift in the mail. So I'll be doing that on December the 15th, and I'll also be doing one on December the 20th. So remember, you have to watch 3 shows. You have to send me an inbox of the 3 shows that you watched, and then I will send you a free gift. I will send the gift to the first let's see. It has to be the 10th person on the 15th. And wait a minute, when I say the 15th, it'll have to be the 10th person. And on the 20th, it has to be the 3rd person. The 3rd person that sends in, and I will give you, you have to watch 3 shows, and then you have to inbox me, and then I will send you a gift. And I'll get all your information and all that from that. And so those are my giveaways that I'm giving. And then on the 24th, the day before Christmas, I will be doing a musical show where I'll just be talking and playing music, and we're gonna have a good time New Year's Eve. Hopefully some of the people on the panel will come on, and we'll be playing all kind of stuff, Christmas stuff and all that stuff. And he's gonna talk about Christmas when we were little and how different things are now. These children don't even know what outside look like. You take them out in the sun, like they blinking, like they never seen the sun. But so that's what I want to do, and those are the plans that I have. And let's see what God thinks about those. Because you know what they say when you got plans and God. Honey.
You see, you know, come on.
So I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Please, even if you're watching this as a replay, comment in the comment section, and we'll come back and we can talk about it again. We can refresh and because a lot of things that we talk about and Lala talks about on her show and Coco and them talk about on their shows, and Fred, those things are topics that can be talked about for days and days and days and never run out of things to say, because everybody has different facets of how they come in. So please continue to comment. Please like, please share, because I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel. Okay, so we're out of here. I love you. Thanks for joining the takeover. I hope that the hour or so that I took over your life, that it meant something to you, because it meant everything to me. Love y'all. Bye. Bye, Lala. Thanks for coming.